nonsense and nothing over the phone. I'm gonna need you to get rid of all the leftover pizza boxes.
The what?
All the boxes left over from the pizza. All the boxes.
Okay.
Make sure you recycle the plastic like we talked about.
Yeah.
Did Jay reach out yet?
Nah, Bob. He ghosting.
This motherfucker doing.
So one of my best friends, she's not here today. She was human trafficked by Naomi Campbell. And Naomi is also Diddy's the godmother. So she started meeting with all these famous people, and they connected her with certain people. And then all of a sudden she's at these parties, and I see she's doing drugs and getting out of control. And eventually I had to start rescuing her from parties. And then a few of the times I had to rescue her from Naomi Campbell's apartment, sleep over, and then I would pick her up.
This is a direct character assassination. I've always said that I'm not a saint, that I am a work in progress, but I will not be held hostage by my past. What he's done is indefensible.
I think that in 5 years people will still be saying, she's a... I hope so. I hope they do.
Something like, you'll never be me, don't ever think that you'll be me, and something like that.
I said that?
Yes.
I can't think, that's something, I'm not that, I'm very much in the, I'm very much, I know the person that I am, and I'm not someone to go and give myself away and say that to anybody. I've never said that in my life. So, but if that's what you remember, I accept that, but it's not, doesn't sound like me to me.
Don't
shorten your dress. They would
yourself
never,
to me.
They would
ever.
never make
you
walk
are
in a
not
dress
on my
that
level,
much
Nicole.
longer.
You never will be on my level. Do not compare yourself to me.
Naomi Campbell is finally going down for her illegal connections to Diddy and Epstein. And the worst part is, all the evidence that the police have on her was allegedly given to them directly by Diddy himself. Here we were thinking her fake charity organization was the only dirty thing she had going for herself to keep up with her expensive lifestyle. The whole time, she has allegedly been shipping unsuspecting women from Africa into Europe under the guise of modeling recruitment, only for them to be subjected to doing the most nasty things you can think of. And word on the street is, these people weren't only adults. Okay, so as most of y'all know by now, the Epstein files dropped some weeks ago, and it exposed all our favorite celebrities for the creeps that they are. And to absolutely no one's surprise, Naomi Campbell's name was right there too. If there's one thing Naomi is going to do, it's get herself involved with the shadiest men you can think of, then turn around to act like she had no idea what they were doing. It's the same playbook for everyone. But this time, people aren't letting her off so easily. According to documents released by the DOJ, Naomi was on Epstein's island, and her name also appeared in a bunch of flight logs for his private jet. One report even stated she took 5 trips on the Lolita Express in 2001 and 2003. 2 of them started in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where Epstein owned an island known for wild parties. A couple of the flights headed to the Sao Paulo, Brazil area. Jeffrey was also seen at multiple Victoria's Secret shows, and they were caught leaving together most of the time. Naomi says she didn't even know Epstein or hear anything about him until her ex-boyfriend Flavio Briatore introduced them at her 31st birthday party back in 2001.
I was introduced to him on my 31st birthday by my ex-boyfriend Flavio. He was always front and center at Victoria's Secret shows.
Did you suspect what he was doing?
No. And what he's done is indefensible. And when I heard of what he'd done, it sickened me to my stomach, just like everybody else. Because I've had my fair share of predators, and thank God that I had good people around me that protected me from this. I mean, right now I stand with the victims. I can't, they're scarred for life.
Now, nobody was really shocked that Naomi was sitting there denying everything, because that's exactly what she does every single time she gets caught around some shady man she had no business being friends with to begin with. For someone who claims she doesn't know anything about what these men are doing, she sure does love being in their company. Actually, she pulled the same move when she got exposed for being connected to Harvey Weinstein, too. Oh, and remember what I mentioned earlier about her being in the recent Epstein files that dropped? Well, despite her sitting in that interview lying straight through her teeth that she didn't know anything about his crimes, there were multiple emails in the documents that suggest she and Epstein were supposedly coordinating plans on how she was allegedly going to be involved with him. And baby, she sounded desperate as F. And just recently, this model plain out accused Naomi of lying about it all.
So one of my best friends, she's not here today. She was human trafficked, Naomi Campbell. And Naomi is also Diddy's the godmother. So she started meeting with all these famous people, and they connected her with certain people. And then all of a sudden, she's at these parties, and I see she's doing drugs and getting out of control. And eventually, I had to start rescuing her from parties. And then a few of the times I had to rescue her from Naomi Campbell's apartment, sleep over, and then I would pick her up and bring her to her apartment because she was so high on drugs.
What kind of drugs was she doing?
Everything. She had they provide the drug for you. So she would open her purse and it would just be everything, whatever you wanted. It was like a pharmacy.
Who would open the purse?
Oh, she would. Oh, she's like, what do you need, Babs? Do you need anything? I said, I don't do anything. Oh,
girl. Several videos came back up of her recruiting these women for what was presented as a modeling opportunity, but none of them ever actually walked any runway. Nobody really knows what happened to these girls. There were also clips of her in Kenya, supposedly doing charity work to help children. But people are now looking at that with suspicion too.
What do you think she gets out of it?
Well, she gets money. When you bring models or people that can easily be manipulated, you get funded. You get funded. She owns, how does she own an island being a supermodel?
I didn't know she owns an island.
Yeah, she owns an island. But this is crime scene investigation.
Yeah.
But it opens your eyes to things that you never even thought of, and I connect all the dots.
These rumors got even crazier when people found this video of the American-based Kenyan influencer Elsa Majimbo calling out Naomi for pulling her into her circle and setting her up with multiple rich men to try getting her to date these guys. At some point, Elsa caught on to what was happening and let Naomi know she wasn't interested in any of that. But this just made Naomi mad, and she got Elsa blackballed from the industry. Mind you, Elsa was only 19 years old at the time and was just starting.
Naomi was coming to Nairobi to do some shopping. She was on holiday, but on a remote place. So she was in Nairobi doing shopping. And I texted her and she told me she's in Nairobi. So I was so excited to meet her. She was the first celebrity I was ever going to meet. Guys, I was through the roof. She texted me, she was like, hey, I'm here. She texted me the location. I went directly. I went with my brother. So my brother and I, we met her, we did some shopping. And as we're shopping, she's like, oh, the plane that's taking us back actually has a couple more seats. Do you and your brother want to join us on holiday? Hell yes. So I was like, oh, that would be so lovely. She introduced me to a couple of people in Hollywood. She was on vacation, were coming to Nairobi after the vacation. They were staying at the Kempinski. So I went to see them at the Kempinski when the whole thing was over. So I sat down with them, I was talking to one of them, and one of them was like, oh, it's so, like, how did you meet Naomi? And I was like, oh, no, I texted her on Instagram, blah, blah. And she was like, oh, yeah, she told us, like, she made you and she built you and she made your career. And I was like, what? No, that's not what happened. And I was like, you mean like helped me and like promoted me? And she was like, no, like what you have is because of her. And I was like, oh yeah, no, that didn't happen. Time goes by, March 2022. We have jumped into March 2022. I get a phone call. My phone is ringing. Naomi Campbell. Oh, so I pick up, I'm like, hey sis, like how are you doing? And she's like, Elsa, how dare you? Oh! So I'm in shock, right? I'm in shock. I don't know what's going on. She was like, this is the last time I'm speaking to you. Have a nice life. And she hung up. Which I was very saddened by the situation, right? But I was like, if that's how she truly feels, because I respect people's space. So I was like, if that's how she truly feels, fine, it's okay. So I let it go. So after that, like a few months, things started going very badly for me. Things started going haywire. And I didn't think it was, I thought it was because of the situation, let me not lie. But I was like, also it can be sure. So I was like, let me go. Because also having someone like Naomi Campbell not liking you in the industry is not a good thing. So I went to her, I apologized. I'd already apologized when the situation had happened, but I went and I apologized again and again. I started calling her, I started texting her. And then one day she just texted me and she was like, stop calling me. I have a child to take care of. So after that, I just said, okay, there's nothing I can do about it. I started drinking. That's why I even quit alcohol. I started drinking. I started drinking a lot. Yeah. And then, because I wasn't sure why things were going so wrong, and I couldn't put my finger on it. And then a few months later, I met Edward Enninful at a party, and Edward Enninful is oh my goodness, he's one of the people I adore the most. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's Edward, I have to go say hi. So I'm like, hey Edward, I'm such a big fan. And he looks at me, he's like, I know you. And then he said something that made me think the situation with Naomi was causing like some of the trials and tribulations I was currently going.
But that's not all, y'all, because this isn't the only sketchy man Naomi has been tangled up with. Back in 2010, she got pulled into court to testify against the former Liberian president Charles Taylor after he gave her blood diamonds while she was staying at Nelson Mandela's house in South Africa. Now, in case y'all don't know, Charles got arrested in 2006 and was charged with arming Sierra Leone's Revolutionary United Front rebels during the 1991 to 2002 Civil War. He trained and directed the rebels who brutally attacked Sierra Leone civilians, often cutting off their hands and legs. While Charles was committing all this horror, he got his hands on a lot of resources, including the diamonds he ended up giving to Naomi. Now, when Naomi first got asked about this, she denied everything and even walked out of the interview. But when she got summoned to court and questioned about the whole situation, she admitted that she did actually receive diamonds from Charles, and they were given to her by 2 random men who showed up at her place in the middle of the night. She also said she didn't keep the diamonds, and that she donated them to a charity instead.
You received a diamond from Charles.
I didn't receive a diamond, and I'm not going to speak about that. Thank you very much. And I'm not here for that.
Well, we've been told that you didn't help the prosecution sort of in this very important case.
Sorry. Thank you so much. Goodbye. When I was sleeping, I had a knock at my door, and I opened my door, and 2 men were there and gave me a pouch and said, "A gift for you."
Did you ask them who they were?
No. I was extremely tired. When they gave me the pouch, I just put it next to my bed and went back to bed.
What did you think the stones were?
They were kind of dirty-looking pebbles. They were dirty, I don't know.
Now it's believed that everything she said was complete nonsense, because her former assistant, Carol White, and actress Mia Farrow, who were both with Naomi on that trip, said Naomi knew exactly where the diamonds came from, and that she was more than happy to accept them. Carol said Naomi was all over Charles the whole night, and that when she got the diamonds, she was thrilled, and even showed them off to her. And then there are the claims about her taking from charities and assaulting her staff. Between 1998 and 2009, she was convicted 11 times for physically attacking the people who worked for her. In 1998, her assistant, Georgina Galanis, accused her of choking her and smacking her over the head with a phone because she was mad about them getting held up by customs at a Canadian airport. In court documents that Georgina's lawyer Calvin Barry got hold of, Naomi supposedly attacked her, grabbed her by the throat, and shook her until Georgina collapsed onto the sofa, trembling and crying. Not too long after this drama, she hired another assistant, and just like the first one, she also accused Naomi of supposedly attacking her. The assistant, Vanessa Frisbee, claimed at the time that Naomi came at her during a heated argument. Naomi denied the whole thing, and even turned around and sued the poor girl. Now, some of y'all might not know this because Naomi did a solid job keeping the story buried, but a little over a year ago, she got investigated after getting caught stealing millions of dollars. Turns out the money was donated to her charity organization, but she had different plans for it. She was blowing all that money on designer goods, trips, private jets, and a bunch of other ridiculous stuff. And can we talk about that shady 25-bedroom eco-mansion shaped like the Egyptian Eye of Horus that was reportedly gifted to her by her ex-boyfriend, Russian billionaire Vladislav Doronin, for her 41st birthday? This creepy-looking island has been brought up a lot in this Epstein conversation, with some people alleging that multiple victims were sent there too, since it's the last place the feds would bother to check when investigating Epstein. Oh, but it gets even worse. So, word on the street is that, after years of the police always ruling Naomi out as a suspect, they finally decided to look deeper into her to figure out why she always seems to be tangled up with these men. And they allegedly even came across prison phone calls that Diddy had made that seemingly incriminate Naomi. Now, obviously, the details of this so-called phone call have not been made public yet, but baby, word on the curb is things are not looking too good for our girl. In fact, people did some digging after this news came out to see if her connections with Diddy also went as deep as Epstein. And girl, it does. She was real tight with Diddy and showed up to every single party he hosted, including his 54th birthday celebration in London and his album release party. Mind you, all these parties came with freak-offs that happened at the after-parties, and Naomi was supposedly at those too. And do y'all remember when Diddy literally flew out to London with Young Miami just to surprise Naomi with a cake for getting her PhD? Now, I don't know about y'all, but Diddy doesn't go out of his way to do stuff like this for people unless they have serious connections to him and are mixed up in what he's doing. Now, it's still not clear what exactly Naomi has done to get in his good graces like this, but people think she's the madam running his trafficking operation, and supposedly the one who is providing him with the women.
After watching the Diddy documentary, I found myself going back down the Epstein rabbit hole, which then led me to the dark side of Naomi Campbell. If you're unaware, Naomi Campbell is one of the original supermodels, one of the first Black women to appear on major publications, featured on over 500 magazine covers, and worked for some of, if not all, of the biggest fashion houses. It's safe to say she has insane connections. One of those being Jeffrey Epstein. Publicly admitted that she knew Jeffrey Epstein and was introduced to him when she was 31. She was introduced to Epstein by her ex-boyfriend Flavio Briatore, I don't know. The reason this is important is because this Flavio fella is connected to a lot of sketchy people, or people that we know today to be sketchy. We see this a lot where supermodels are dating people like this. Flavio also has a child with Heidi Klum. Anyway, Flavio and Naomi are pictured on Epstein's yacht, surrounded by a lot of people, including, at the time, teenage Virginia Guffrey. So there's no denying that Naomi was connected to Epstein and his cohorts. Allegedly, there are emails where Naomi is talking about Ghislaine Maxwell being a close friend of hers, arranging trips to foreign countries. Naomi's spokesperson came out and said Naomi does not recognize this email exchange. There are claims from survivors that she was more involved in Epstein's inner circle than she leads on, allegedly. A lot of these documents remain sealed or unverified. It means that we can't really say she's guilty of any wrongdoing, but she definitely has connections to some of these sketchy people. Another really sketchy name she was allegedly romantically linked to was the disgraced Sean Diddy Combs. This was in the early 2000s, and they were seen going to many events together, but they were never confirmed as a couple. A lot of people think that models happen to end up in these circles because they're in the pageant world or the supermodel world, which breeds creepy, weird old men who want to be in charge of that.
As y'all can see, Naomi has a long history of pulling some questionable moves. She got away with it before, but people are coming for her now. And they don't plan on backing off until she loses everything too, possibly even ends up behind bars. One person said, if you read the Epstein files, why did Naomi still associate with Epstein even after he pleaded guilty to soliciting sex from a minor, inviting him to events and asking to charter his private plane? Another person said, remember, Elsa Majimbo accused Naomi of trafficking her. Elsa even talked about being scared and turning to alcohol. This young woman has not been the same in years. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about Naomi Campbell allegedly being involved in all this mess? And do you really think she is next to be arrested after those